So we did questions this week about business, and we'll see what comes up and if I'm smart enough to answer them. That's kind of part of this. I don't believe I know much of what the fuck I'm talking about. I just figure, why not give it a go?
Well, as I've come to understand about life, is that no one understands
no one has any
anything
idea
what's going on, and some people, it's just working.
Dude, there's no shit about that, Brant.
Oh man,
no shit, dude. So, all right, OG Bird. I probably won't read a lot of. Oh no, travesty. Oh God, is that the only lighter on the table? What am I even doing with my life in here?
Didn't I have any more Lupe fuel?
I do, but it's a bit of a pain in the ass. It doesn't matter. I'll get it between shows.
Okay.
Thoughts on going into business with family, a sibling, or a parent? I don't think that there's a rule across the board for that. I think typically people think it's a bad idea because they're planning on things going south and that the people they get into business with are kind of shitty. And when that happens, it will ruin your relationship with that person, most likely forever. True.
Yeah, it's. Sorry,
but that's not.
I mean, the way
but that's
you
not
said
because
it,
they're
yeah.
your family. Like the mistake wasn't going into business with a family member.
Yeah.
The mistake was going into business with a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Or selfish person or someone that was going to steal from you.
I think there's this misconception that it'll be fun when you can't go into it thinking like, this is going to be fun. I get to do
Is
this
that
with
why
my
people
cousin.
get into businesses?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I feel like something that be like, oh, yo, me and my cousin can start a business. It'll be like a lot of fun to work with them. But if they suck at working, like, the business isn't going to do well, and that's going to turn into other frustrations between you and the other person.
That's very valid. I think I fucked that up. I fucked that up with the bike shop.
I feel like there's a little bit of a, this is going to be a fun thing, and not realizing, like, there's a lot you have to do to make it, like, a business work successfully.
For sure. Plenty of people go into business with friends and family. I mean, I started HVIII with Mike, who was a friend. I started the bike shop with two friends. The bike shop didn't go well, but it wasn't because they were my friends, right? Like, it didn't go well because the business wasn't great. And now I definitely don't have relationships with the two people that I went into that business with, but here we are. I didn't hesitate going into business with Mike. I think it really depends on the type of person that you're trying to go into business with. If someone in your life is a fucking loser and they can't be counted on and they're not going to show up on time and they don't work as hard as you, like, yo, it's not a good fit. Or you need to realize what each other's skill sets are and don't try to not be that, right? Like, I think you can do business with friends as long as you understand very clearly what the expectations of each person's role are. Yeah, I think that's key, and so is communication. A lot of problem that comes with the friends and family part of business is people get a little bit too embarrassed to explain where their shortcomings are. And so that leads to fumbling around in the dark a lot longer than it should be when you could have just said, like, yo, I don't have any idea what the fuck I'm doing. And then the three or however many of you can get together to kind of make that decision to go forward to get out of it. Yeah, I don't think it's the worst idea. Like, I wouldn't hesitate probably to go into business with my brother because my brother is smart and not an asshole and operates and, like, I think would do what is needed for his job in the business. I think he would treat it like a fucking job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is I feel like a failing part behind it is people not wanting it to be a job or understanding that it is like a job and, like, treating it more objectively. Treating it more objectively, like that, hey, this is like we're like, I'm, the CEO and then you're like the, manager of operations or whatever. You know what I mean? Like actually going into your roles and actually defining that and actually, like, working that way, not working like your friends, working like,
no, of course not.
Working like you're actually like business people. Or per se.
Right,
you know?
right. So a perfect example of this, like, at this point in my life, I've now started a business with Bonnie. Bonnie and I have a business together that's investing.
Yeah.
Whether that's property or whatever we feel like investing in.
Yeah.
So that's friends and family.
Yeah.
Caveman Coffee. I have that involved with people. My ex-wife is still part of both of my businesses. I would we have some business ideas that we're trying to start with other friends, which I don't mind. But the big caveat to that is none of these are our first businesses, right?
That's a big thing.
Everyone I'm
Yeah.
involved with
That's a big thing.
has proven they can
Yes.
fucking run a business without me being involved at all.
Yeah.
And so it's trying to figure out, is it a 1 + 1 = 3? The only real headache that follows that is the fact that running my business is a full-time job.
Yeah.
And so is running any of my friends' businesses. So when we try to make a business together, it's another full-time job. There is no fucking just autopilot system to be like, got it.
Sadly, yeah.
No, it's just not how it works. And I'm not at a level that like I can hire and recruit
Put
like a
other
CEO
people- yeah,
to say, run this thing.
Like,
we're not there.
Hire another team, essentially.
Yeah, like when we were at FitCon last weekend, listening to Dan Fleischman talk about business stuff, and he's like, "Well, I have a variety of companies, and they all have CEO in place,
Yeah.
and I trust those CEOs to do their job." I'm like, "Well, all those things,
Yeah.
that ain't startup day one shit."
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think it needs to be more of like an actual vetting, like hiring process, and like realizing like, is this person actually the best person for the job or not? Like treating your family member like you would if you were actually interviewing someone and being like, well, you're not the best role for the job because you know that they fucking sleep 18 hours out of the 24 hours of the day or something like that.
You're not for me.
So,
I need to know that you basically
Yeah.
don't sleep and you're a lunatic.
Yeah. Like,
Also, how interested in having fun are you?
yeah.
'Cause I like having a fucking good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's not quite a black or white answer on that. I think if you have any type of intuition that says I shouldn't go into business with them. Also, if someone in your family who's a bit of a dipshit, like you know who they are, and they want to go into business with you, the answer is no. It is not your fucking job to say throw that person a life vest. Like what they should do is figure their shit out and get to a point that they have a good enough thing going before they can present you with saying, "Hi, I need help."
Yeah. Gotta
As long as
prove
their
that you can
thing
work,
doesn't
yeah.
revolve around you having to be involved, then it's worth it. If it's a thing that they have going already and they're interested in some horsepower, maybe that's a different discussion.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to just knowing the person for sure.
All right, let's go down. I don't think the other one's a real good question.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's trying to do. Just
All right,
nice.
general question. Aren't they all? How would hate be different if you never got into weed? I don't know.
That's interesting.
I don't know how it would be different. I don't think it would be any different.
I
mean, maybe I'd like make less weed shirts, but
Maybe
even before
less-
I was into weed, I was still pro weed.
mean, less drip, I guess.
Maybe less drip.
Maybe
I don't
a little
know.
less drippies.
I don't know. I really enjoy cannabis. And so that does reflect a little bit in the everything I do. Maybe that helps with some of the color palette choices or any of that, but for me, it's definitely something that helps creativity, especially when I wasn't getting a ton of inspiration and motivation from my time in the gym
Yeah.
because I haven't been able to train consistently.
Yeah. I mean, I know for like me myself, like sometimes ideas evolve and change a little bit better just because I'm thinking like, because I always say if I'm like on a line, like normally I'm slightly to like the left or something like that, like
Sure.
in regards to how I'm thinking. So I'm thinking slightly outside of the box or slightly differently than I normally am, just because I'm going through rabbit holes or loopholes of thought. And so like just exploration. And so like I normally have an idea, but sometimes ideas or like details and stuff change or get, I feel like they're better. I find better solutions just simply because, just a slightly altered state of mind. So just,
I agree with that. And like the altered state of mind, right? Like it's just a perspective shift to maybe
Yeah.
see it from a different light, a different angle,
That's
or
the-
hell, even literally perspective shift, like being in a different place and being able to look at things from a different view, whether that's, us in the desert, as much as we travel, like I get a lot out of those trips. I get a lot out of that time that we spend in different places. So, I mean, how would hate be different if I never got into weed? I don't know.
I
man.
mean, I don't
maybe
think it's
less
that different.
colorful.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of the thing that like, that's like where all my creative power comes from, which it's not.
No, same.
That's what I'm saying is like, I feel like that's kind of what the person is like.
Yeah, I mean, I ran the company for 4.5 years before I really gave a shit about weed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's just like,
I mean, we were already over $1 million business before that.
It's like, that's not like the driving factor. It's just like something that every now and then kind of, you know, feeds a little bit of input in, and it's like, hey, what's
right.
up?
And I mean, I don't drink.
Yeah.
And so this just gives me another outlet to blow off steam, and not even just blow off steam, which is what, you know, alcohol did for a long time. Is I think it did a very good job of just kind of blowing off steam, but it never gave back. Like even the blowing off steam just took more from me.
Yeah.
So cannabis has not hit me in the same way. So I hope that helps. Moving from Ohio to Flagstaff, Arizona. Ever been? Any suggestions on rad stuff in Arizona? Arizona is super, super sick. There's tons of stuff. There's the Grand Canyon. I mean, there's no lack of rad shit to do outside in Arizona unless you're not into doing outdoor stuff. And then, I don't know, man, live underground in a bunker, I assume. It's just a hot desert there. Flagstaff is super rad. So Flagstaff's like this cool little mountain town. We stayed a couple days in Flagstaff before our Grand Canyon trip a few years ago. Flagstaff's like this really rad little mountain biking hub. It's got a little airport, kind of little hippie community. It's got a really good vibe, and the mountains and everything around it with hiking and trails and adventure are really rad. Plus the location in Arizona is super sick next to a bunch of other stuff. So moving from Ohio to there, yeah, fucking enjoy yourself. Get some sunscreen and get outside more.
I don't think I haven't really been to that part of the map.
Nah,
actually.
Flagstaff, probably not.
Well, like Arizona, I haven't like been in Arizona or like New Mexico and stuff like that area.
Yeah,
like
I think we hit a bunch of that too when we were on the RV road trip because we spent a bunch of time in Arizona.
Yeah.
And Flagstaff's cool.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's a real question. What are your top 5 core values?
Get out the whiteboard.
Jesus. Top 5 core values. Top 5 core values in my life. Value time. That's got to be number 1.
That's
number 1 above anything else is value time. And not only value time, but I value my time. And I try to be really good at this. And I hope it reflects back to you guys and stuff, Brent. Like, I value my time so fucking much that me being late and not valuing someone else's feels so shit that I hate wasting someone else's time, because that's the even side of this. I hate my time being wasted, and I fucking hate inconvenience, and I hate waiting. I hate sitting around fucking waiting when there's something else that I could be getting done. And so asking anyone to do that for me, I find completely unacceptable. Otherwise, I don't get to bitch about my time being wasted. That's the only way that works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2 is make decisions. Like, we can't be afraid of failure. That's probably number 2 is be able to make decisions and go forward and not be so dogmatic about the decisions you made so that you can still make adjustments on the fly. Like, you've got to be able to make changes. You've got to be able to make turns, but fucking make decisions and make them at full speed and fail. The more you fail, the more data points you have of like, that's not the way, or this didn't work, and then determine why it didn't work, and then use that feedback to build your business and make things smarter. So that's 2. Core values is I have a hard time with people who don't take care of their body.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with people who let that side slip. I think the whole thing's important. I think that if you've got enough discipline to accomplish X, Y, and Z, that you should also develop it in every other aspect of your life. I think how you present your material is very, very valuable. So me staying in shape and me being focused and me taking care of my body and not just continuing to beat the shit out of it for no sake other than proving I can still lift heavy things doesn't make any fucking sense to me. So valuing my body and valuing the machine that I'm in is really important, and taking care of it. So Yeah, I think a core value for me is knowing that like the physical side of my being is also very important, that it's capable and fit and strong and move, and working. That's three. I think loyalty. I think for myself, loyalty is a big one. I think not in a weird way, man, but like there's definitely opportunities that come up for me that could be, a good financial move. But if there's ever a red flag that pops up that it feels like that's something a friend of mine is doing or anything like that, like, man, I can't cross that line. Sure as shit, not without having the conversation. And the red flag I have with something like that is like, there's lots of stuff people make or, have done business wise that, you don't want to rip off, but at the same time, like, you didn't invent fanny packs. Just because you guys made a fanny pack doesn't mean we can't make our version of a fanny pack, right? So those type of things. But at the end of the day, perfect example would have been we're working on a shirt design that says leave your mark.
Yeah.
And, wanted to do that for the Olympics and this kind of vibe behind it. And I couldn't remember if Rob and them have done a leave your mark shirt.
Yeah.
And so I sent Rob a text.
Yeah.
And he simply was like, maybe, but not in regards to the Olympics. So I don't know. And I'm like, any problem with me making that shirt? And he's like, nope.
Yeah.
It's simple enough to have a conversation. And don't get me wrong, I'm not asking permission.
Yeah.
I'm taking temperature of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he was like, oh, yeah, dude, we've done 2 of those a year for the last 6 months.
Yeah,
like,
it's like
nope.
if you need to pivot or if you need to just completely change, Like, I totally understand that.
And figure out, me making this decision isn't going to cost me parts in the relationship because, man, the friendships and relationships are huge to me. And they're not really worth me risking. So that's one of those things. So I guess loyalty for me is, I don't fuck with my relationships. Like they stand tall above all else.
Yeah. It's just like,
and not only that, like I'm not willing for them to be compromised by anyone around me. Like I'll defend that.
yeah.
Want to see me get really fucking mad? Like,
Yeah.
something to embarrass me in front of like a group of people that I deal with. That would probably do it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, just Jesus. His core value is how much I believe in Jesus. Jesus H. Christ, the invisible God in the sky. Represent him. I don't know. Core values. I'd say the last core value for me, I hope that's 5. It feels like it, is I want people around me that feel the same way I do, only in this regard. Is you have the right to live your life in any way that you see fit, that makes you happy, that is pursuing things you're about, that does anything. Yeah, I don't give a fuck if you want to take heroin every night because you enjoy it. That ain't got shit to do with me. I think you should be allowed to. I think you're an adult. I think you should be allowed to make decisions and then suffer the consequences of the decisions you make. But you don't get both. You don't get freedom and then not responsibility to fucking make up for your own decisions. So educate yourself and be smart. The flip side of that is no one has the right to tell me how to live my life. I'm not interested in being told what I can and can't do, what I should and shouldn't do, how I should operate. And I want the exact same for you. That's it. And so as long as your pursuit of happiness doesn't impact or get in the way of my pursuit of happiness, we're on the same team. If your pursuit of happiness involves something really fucking dumb, like, I don't know, outlawing marriage or civil rights or any of these type of things, go fuck yourself.
I think Will Smith would be proud of all those plugs.
Cool. Is that a Will Smith thing? He's into that?
Pursuit of Happiness?
Oh, that's true. He made that movie.
Yes, he did.
His kid was in it. And then his kid later showed up to Kanye West's wedding in an all-white Batman suit.
That's pretty sick.
Are you aware of that?
No?
Incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, incredible. Jaden Smith shows up in a full white Batman outfit.
Speaking of Kanye.
Okay.
Well, kind of
You bet I
kind of
will.
related, but Kim apparently got some car. I saw a video that was just covered in like a shag carpet.
I saw that.
Okay. One of the comments underneath this video sent me to the fucking moon. I was watching and it's just like, wow, that's a nightmare to clean. And then I go to the comments and it's like, wow, that's real cool, Kim. At least I have a stable marriage.
Oh my
I
God.
was just like, wow, I just went for the throat right away. That was great.
Jesus. Why is your dude unhappy? Like, I read a comment on that and it said, car is going to look like an old sock by next week.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which for sure, right?
Oh, yeah.
But so there's a big separation, right, between winners and losers. Like in the mindset and the way you see the thing. The
Yeah.
losers, fucking this is crazy. What a waste of money. Blah, 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 blah. Winners look at that and go, God damn it. How much attention did they pull off from this? Do you realize how much money that'll generate verse? Because it's fabric from her clothing line.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I didn't
it's
research
promotional.
into it. I just saw the comment and I just fucking laughed so hard.
They fucking killed it, dude.
Like the comment above that though is like, this is how bored she is.
And
which I was just like,
if that car stays clean
yeah,
because of some type of fancy fabric,
that's actually pretty smart marketing.
they'll kill it.
Yeah.
As if, man, continuing to write the Kardashians off as bullshit is a fucking mistake.
Yeah.
They didn't accidentally fall into as a family now that everyone in the family has generated billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yo, and none of that's accidental.
Yeah.
And not a lottery to win.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how much of it is them, but
Compared to who?
Well, I don't know. I'm saying like in regards to, because I mean, they had enough money to just hire whoever the fuck they want to do
Which
it.
is still smart business moves.
Well, yeah.
Right? And then smart enough business moves to be like, oh, you want to wrap my car in carpet? Sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trust.
I think just the whole keeping up with the Kardashians playing in my house constantly throughout my entire life growing up.
They're just veal on that show. They just hang out and drink coffee and don't move.
Like it was just constantly playing in the house, and I was just like I'm like, this is terrible. And I'm just like, this is so terrible.
Don't get me wrong.
I think I have some slight resentment in that sense.
And as far as that goes, I'm on board. Like the idea of the Kardashians, I fucking hate.
Yeah.
Because we can't get good seasons of Arrested Development. Like they canceled that after 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I got 15 seasons of watching these fucking mutants hang out in their house.
Their life.
Fuck, man.
Essentially vlogging,
except you can't because they don't do enough exciting things. So you have to stage a bunch of bullshit to make production affordable.
Yeah.
That's how the whole reality thing works. That's why it's faked. It's because it's not affordable just to wait for cool shit to happen.
Yeah. I mean, just when we were at FitCon, like watching that crew kind of operate for, what is it? The Diesel Brothers show.
Yeah, the Diesel Brothers show, right?
Like, first of all, that was actually super fucking cool to like watch that happen.
Yeah,
like,
I've got a few chances to go on set while they record and watch how that operates, and I'm like, fuck.
It's a fucking crazy machine, and it's super cool. Like watching it, I was fascinated.
Did
like
you
watching
watch the producer?
Watching the producer, like yes, that's what I was saying. Is I would fucking watching him the whole time, watching the crew, watching everyone just do all
fucking
of their
shove
things, just
people
like,
around
and just like on like because like they were all walkied up and like mic'd up and stuff, and he's just like, I need someone over here right now. Where are you at? Run over here! Ah! And it was just like, oh my god, this is crazy, and it's super high paced, super fast, and it was just very very fun to watch happen because it's very much so like, oh, that's how it's done kind of thing. Like,
well, it has to be for that, right? Because you are trying to capture a moment.
Yes, exactly. Like, and so
as much as you can try to facilitate a moment happening.
That's why it's just like go, because it's just like I don't want there to be 5 minutes between this moment and this moment because then it kind of loses.
No,
steam.
it loses the crowd steam.
It loses the steam, and so like, I mean, even doing like takes or anything like that, it's fucking. It's like real quick, and so it's super cool. Yeah, that was really really cool to watch. So,
yeah, I agree. Watching that animal shove people around, like,
yeah, and
no accident.
And I mean, I don't know in regards to like production crews and stuff like that how normal they typically are for any kind of TV show, but like watching that was pretty fucking cool.
It was super cool to watch, right? Like I think that's very very valuable. I think that wraps up our core values, doesn't it?
No. That was pretty good. I think you did good. I think you did good on that one.
Microdosing. Do you take breaks? I just started last month and I feel great. Congratulations. I have not taken any breaks. I have in the past, and I mean, I may miss a couple days here and there, but overall, I'm taking some 0.01 gram of psilocybin every day and have for like the last 10 months. And I don't see there's not a single metric that I would measure as being a negative or just as a negative. So I haven't taken any breaks. I know that that's not kind of the standard protocol from guys like Paul Stamets or any of the other smart people out there promoting mushrooms and microdosing, but that's what I've done. I hope you can get them and try them and make it legal. And I hope they're legal everywhere soon so that we can at least have them in a therapeutic setting. I don't know recreationally what that means. I mean, again, more for more adults is how I feel. At least this should be something that I, as a consenting adult, want to go take with a therapist. I should be fucking allowed. Hi. So good work. On to the next. 5 business lessons and mistakes. Well, I'm going to answer as many as I could. I don't know if I have 5.
Just, do like what comes to mind.
All right. So top 5 businesses mistakes for avoid developing a clothing business. So the big mistakes that I see other brands who try to get rolling, not be able to pull off. One's the pacing. And there's different ways to run brands, right? Like if you're going to do limited edition stuff like we do and operate in this space like we've chose, then you got to come up with new shit and come up with new ideas. And you have to be able to pace that so that every couple of weeks, a new design is showing up that you need to shoot and promote and get ready for drop. I mean, we don't have like 6 months of shit shot beforehand. Now, we've got a lot of designs done, but they're not done. We have a lot of concepts done. And we have stuff ordered. We have long-term and short-term stuff. We have, the cut and sew stuff, which takes longer to get in, and we get more quantity because some of it's going to sell a little slower. Like there's some pacing and strategy involved. So that's one. One would be the pacing and figuring out what it is of your business, of how to get the most stuff out and keep the most eyes coming to your store. And for me, the thought on that was I have return customers and I have new customers. And so I want to be able to support both. And if I'm not coming up with new stuff, then I'm only supporting new customers. So new customers will buy new and old shit. Old customers will just buy new stuff. So it's better for me just to keep getting out new stuff. That helps a ton. And then have some stable stuff that's in there that, always sells and kind of helps bring daily sales up when you're not doing a release. So there's an idea. It's the pacing of it. Another mistake is trying to go to cut and sew way too early. Like if you think that's the bit holding your business back, I disagree. Like if you can't make enough money selling graphic t-shirts, which are the bread and butter of anyone in this industry, it's going to be a real struggle to get people on board with enough loyalty that they're going to trust your cut and sew. So make sure you have that really solid before you start building in your cut and sew stuff. 3, you have to tell a story. Like there has to be a reason that people want to be and support your brand more so than just cool designs on a shirt. It's about, what the hate means and having that story that we tell and how it's continued to evolve and adapt along with me and my training and my mindset and how we explain and tell that story to everyone else. And, on top of that, we have the podcast to further tell that story in a longer format. We have books that we've done. We also have, the YouTube videos, and the YouTube videos are sharing it, are actually showing that I fucking live it, man. That I live what I talk about. That this isn't just
it's not bullshit.
Not a bullshit thing. Like this is how I fucking operate, and I show it that you can do it and you can change and you can make these things. So having that story is what people buy into. People can buy shirts anywhere. So why are they buying yours? Mostly because they're voting for you. 5 business mistakes. Another mistake. Hiring people. I think that's something I put off longer than I should have. As once I felt like, oh, it's time to finally hire someone, which was Brant. Once I had that, I realized how really valuable having that second person was. And now with that said, I got really lucky. Because you've been rad. We've seen other people hire not as well.
Yeah.
And so, having that buy-in from someone else. The other side of that is the last bit of advice is if your employees can't buy in to what you're doing, then it's not going to run the same. They're always going to feel like employees and not help and invested. But you have to give back to them.
Yeah, I think that was something I said on a previous kind of like Q&A thing was I feel like especially as like a small business or like any type of like small business, like the person you're hiring being passionate and also about your thing, especially at being like a first hire, I feel like is probably important. Like I feel like a first hire not knowing who the fuck you are as a small business is not the best move. Or just somewhat liking the thing you do.
Okay, well then a question for you that may, help shed some light on this is, what did I do as a boss to help you buy into the brand?
Well, that was the thing is I already liked HVIII before I had met you.
Well, sure, but there's a difference in liking it and then a year into whatever this insanity, because, the pace of it's ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, we have little meltdowns basically all the time.
Yeah, I guess just the, I don't know. I had always been really into like the message, and then, I mean, just how you kind of talk about it and, I guess live life or whatever, just on a normal kind of like mindset and everything like that, like of you, I found very good.
Okay.
And so I enjoyed, I liked that a lot. Like I liked your mindset, which, went along with the brand and stuff like that. And so I think I guess that's kind of like the big thing is just like the mindset and just kind of like that way of operating. I don't know. Yeah.
But I definitely noticed that, right? Like we see it, right? Because I mean, the 3 guys that we have on the headquarters squad, whatever it would be, me, you, Andy, and Harry. Everyone's in, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone's just asking, how can they help?
Yeah.
Including myself.
Yeah.
And that's another one that I try to really pay attention and give back to my employees. Like I'm not interested in just running people into the ground. I want sustainable stoke on the job. Now, I want us busy.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to relax. But it also helps that you don't see me sitting around with my fucking feet up all the time waiting for shit to get done.
Yeah.
No, I'm crazy too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's I guess I don't know like the exact words for it, but it's just like yeah, there's just like this kind of like full like appreciation for the whole thing, or like a full like vice versa kind of situation. Like I see like what you're doing, you see what I'm doing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a mutual respect. There we
for
go.
sure.
That's
yeah,
the word I'm
and especially
for.
because I trust that you. I don't micromanage.
Yeah. I think I know like yeah, I think that was the other big thing is like I had a lot of creative freedom. Like I knew that coming into this whole thing I was going to have a lot of just creative freedom to like really express my ideas or like do kind of whatever I was thinking. Like I kind of got that vibe pretty early is that like I would have a lot of freedom to be like, hey, could we like try this or whatever, and being like, yeah, let's do it. And then, the only restraints are time. Yeah. And so like so yeah, that's essentially it. It's just the time thing. It's like this has to be done by X date. So whatever you'd like to do. Yeah. So but it's but even still, it's still just like that openness to ideas and creation. It's just and then like, if it doesn't work or whatever, like that's okay. We'll just fix it and try something else.
Right. And then it's worth looking at together as a group and say, why do we think that didn't work? Yes, exactly. And I think it's really interesting because I think that's something that we weren't good at to start, and it's something that you get better at as you're working on. Like, I think that's probably a big thing to look at is if like a working relationship, especially with a small business, like, because
you say it a lot, but like you can't like that person can't care more about it than you do.
Never can, dude.
And so like if that's like happening, then there's gonna be like problems, of course.
Yeah.
And so like fuck, I forgot what I was going with that.
I mean, I
But,
could even
yeah.
see, from your perspective or from an employee's perspective, like if I was hiring you guys and then you saw me doing nothing but fucking off,
Yeah.
like you don't care.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough to have those long nights and extra days and that constant go pace when you think the person on the other end of the line is just chilling and saying, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Great work.
Yeah, for sure.
What's next?
I mean, everyone's working, but like it's definitely like working out that relationship and working out the kinks, especially if you see like the person is, into what you're doing. They just don't have it quite figured out yet because they either just don't care about it as much as you yet, or they just haven't really like seen like I know for me the big mindset shift was like the road trip or whatever.
Right.
Like that was like the big thing that changed for me. But yeah, I don't.
And I think
don't
part
know.
of that,
Yeah,
right?
so-
Like being able to have you or Andy involved in the last couple trips, or even Harry, is like I know how it feels being at home whenever that's going on, and you just catch the bits and pieces.
yeah.
And it's tough to look at it as work,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but the reality is, all of that, even though it's fun and it's hanging out,
Yeah.
it's still it's still part of it.
Yeah, I would say this last trip was probably like we were doing a bunch of stuff like activity wise every day.
Yep.
Like we were still working, but I would say like work time like in total was definitely like down over like normal, just because we were doing more stuff.
For sure, right?
I mean, like, but even when we're going like the hike or whatever, like I'm still filming stuff. Like I'm still like I'm
Right.
still like doing stuff normally during the activity. It's just I'm not necessarily sitting at my computer and working.
no,
You know?
right.
It's just-
You're collecting shit to do next time we have a slow point.
It's essentially, yeah. That's essentially how it works. And so, but yeah.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
Step by step on how you would market a clothing business starting now. Unless I had already built a following and an audience myself, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah,
I mean, but
clothes is tough.
clothes is really, really tough to start from scratch and do that thing. Hate without me being the driving force, without me doing the Highland Games thing, without me having the YouTube channel, without doing the podcast, without that, I don't know how I figure it out. The other people I know that have done it successfully also have that side of it.
Yeah.
So
I don't, because
that would be my first thing is develop yourself into something people want to give a shit about.
yeah, I don't really know how else you would start
You,
selling.
you have to
shirts.
have a thing that's valuable to sell already. Like if I just came up with the idea of like kick-ass tees.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing is like, how do you stand out? Like, or what do you offer that's different? But like a t-shirt's a t-shirt.
Well,
So,
I mean,
like,
look, we
you know,
run into that with Habit, right? Mm-hmm. As a secondary business, we make great fucking coffee,
Yeah.
but that's not enough.
Yeah.
That simply isn't enough. You can't just make good coffee and have good branding and it'll take off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other work and we're just slowly trying to figure it out. And meanwhile, it's also our secondary thing.
Yeah.
currently.
I mean,
just, Habit's going to have to get a team.
yeah. I mean, just from like, because Bonnie's still like running that.
Bonnie's
whole thing.
still running the
I
Instagram.
mean, just from her, just doing the Instagram.
Yeah, we're up
Habit's been-
300% for the
Habit's been
year.
significantly better. Just like I was saying that yesterday. I'm like, just from her posting on the Instagram and like running and like getting
We
content
should
for
probably
it.
like once a month have a Habit meeting.
Yeah.
And
I
just
mean,
a couple ideas of promotions and ideas and how to drive it. And
and then try and get those going. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
maybe that's James and Tori, you
Yeah.
know.
I'm really excited. Like the thing I've been working on for just Umso. Cause we like, if any of you guys noticed the rad new, picture for it, kind of the direction of just branding and stuff like that. So there's been a lot of rebranding pieces for the whole thing and, really excited to show that off. Well, probably this week. So
What, you have more coming?
do it.
You have a bunch more stuff coming that I don't even know about?
Oh, you have no idea. You're going to lose.
Where are you going to put all this?
You're going to lose your brain. It's going to be super cool.
Where does it all go?
Oh, it's for the video stuff. It's for
all
the
right.
video content. It's going to be really cool. It's going to spice up Instagram a little bit.
All right, man. I'm super pumped.
It's super cool. Well, what's great is that once these are made, they don't need to be changed for like 5 years.
If we can run that photo of me holding a glass for that long that I did on Photoshop in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think the synth wave, atomic blonde, neon vibe is going away anytime soon.
It is not. It is not.
So, yeah, it's going to be cool. But, yeah, I don't remember why I was talking about that, but there we go.
All right, on to the next. It's not a business question, but it's a question. Would I recommend the Highland Games for someone who's short, under 5'6"? Yeah, absolutely. There's tons of women that aren't very tall that compete in the game. The height's fine. Like, I mean, you can still compete in the sport. I also would hope at under 5'6", maybe you are sub 200 pounds, but I don't know. That would probably make the game a little bit more fun for you to throw the 42 and then work in the lightweight category. I think at 5'6", if you want to become a world champion, you have a real tough road ahead of you. There are definitely some advantages that come from being a bigger mutant. I don't know how at 5'6". I don't know what you would have to do physically at 5'6" to beat Spencer.
Yeah, I would say Spencer.
Nah,
Spencer,
right.
yeah.
He's a fucking giant. So, but yeah, I mean, would I recommend it as a fun activity and a great sport to be part of? Fuck yeah. Do I think you'll ever be great at it? I don't think the cards are in your favor.
I think it's that whole expectations versus kind of
intention.
There we go.
Yeah. Do you want to find a sport and meet rad people and get to, travel occasionally if you want to and enjoy having a thing to train for? That's super challenging to be great at. Awesome sport. If you're getting into it because you think being the world champion in that sport's going to be your dream.
Yeah.
I wish you the best of luck. I'd love to see it, but I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah, of course.
But just no one's ever done it yet. Startup podcast advice. Which platform do you use? Beginner setup, etc. Starting podcast advice. So here's biggest fucking advice is consistency. And that's what I really notice, different than a lot of people. Like you can record pretty decent quality audio just on your phone. I've done it. We have some of our episodes that are done that way that just in a pinch, it was worth getting the content. So we just set the cell phone on the table and we both talk. The more quiet the environment, the better that operates. Other than that, you don't need a ton of fancy equipment. Travel kit is pretty affordable. I mean, our travel kit's way under $1,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Zoom recorder.
Yeah, not counting cameras.
Yeah, so like
if you want video, it's complicated.
So that was kind of the thing. So like video ROI on video is essentially non-existent for a
terrible.
podcast. Like, so you can't that's something you do when you're trying to make when your podcast is doing well enough.
Yeah, we're trying to get more people.
And you're just making it more professional. Like that's like the whole thing with what we're doing with all the video and stuff like that with podcasts. And it's just, it's been a lot of work putting into that. And Aaron as well, helping out with that and doing all of we have essentially 4 people that are doing stuff to make the podcast stuff look awesome.
Yeah.
So it's, it's a lot of stuff, but the actual travel kit, it's a Zoom recorder, and then all you need is a Zoom recorder, an SD card, and then the 2
headphones and splitters,
2 headsets, and then a splitter.
Yeah, I recommend the headset that already has a mic in it. They work really, really well.
Yeah, I think we have the Audio Technica ones. Really good. Audio Technica is great sound equipment for everything.
But the biggest advice to help it grow, is have guests on that are bigger than you. That helps. That's always going to get more eyes. Also figure out a good way for them to promote it. There's things we could do better. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the big one for me and the way that I treated it the same way that I treated lifting or any of these things, if I'm starting something and I've made the decision that this is what we're doing, I don't miss weeks. I'm consistent. We put out episodes. I don't have a 2-month stint where I just didn't feel like podcasting.
Yeah, that's true.
I fucking do it every week.
It's every week.
And I haven't fucked that up in 3 years.
Yeah.
We've had very few gaps.
I mean, if there is a gap, it is 1 week.
Yeah.
And that is.
Yeah. We're never 2 weeks.
And like, even in. I don't even know since I've been on board if there's ever been like a 1
No,
week
because we'll
gap.
come in and do this. We'll make sure that we get consistent content out.
Yeah.
And that's the same with running hate. That's the same with the YouTube channel. Like, I never let any of that fall.
Yeah.
Through all this. I never had a period where like I didn't upload something for a month.
Yeah.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
And that's part of the grind. That is probably the top reason my shit has been able to hold.
Yeah.
Is I never bail. Mm-hmm. Now, none of it's ever grown like a goddamn rocket. I'm trying to YOLO and blow up my my own businesses and stocks, but they're not working so good. But it's fun. It is fun, and I love doing it. So that helps.
Yeah.
Who else we got? What was going through your mind when you were running in Bryce Canyon? For the first 4 hours of that?
I want to be done.
for the first call it 3.5 hours was probably the gram of mushrooms. And just being really, really stoked. Being really thankful that I got to do it, and that my knee and hip weren't hurting, and that I had this big just wave of gratitude that I got to do it, that I'm not hurting, that I don't feel fragile, that I got to fully go out and attack a thing.
Yeah. So is that like, I guess I never really asked you that. So like, was there any moment like during that kind of run where you were having like any kind of, like I know when you're talking about when you did ayahuasca and stuff, like how you had, conversation with knee and hip kind of thing. Was there any of that kind of feedback loop coming back in while you were on the trail and being like, like this is cool kind of deal, or like this is like thanks or whatever, kind of like that kind of
a ton
kind of
for me
conversation
of just
with that,
gratitude
so,
with my body.
Yeah.
And it was, that's why I was pretty emotional when I finished, man. It was just that it felt like another, knife or nail in the coffin of the time in my life where I felt fragile.
Yeah.
Dude, that part has been a really heavy bit to overcome, and not realizing that it was as much as it was of being hurt, that I just felt like I can't get involved with stuff. I can't try new activities. I can't take the risk because any type of fuck up hurt too bad.
Yeah.
It would cost me weeks.
Yeah.
And I just can't. I can't afford to be. I'm so scared to return back.
Yeah.
To when things were bad.
Yeah.
That I've avoided a lot of stuff. And so slowly over the now 3 years or 2 years since total knee replacement, of building this confidence back of like, okay, we can push.
Yeah. I think that was in this Bryce Canyon one was when that big thing, that first kind of, I guess, light bulb moment almost of just like, holy fuck. Like,
well, and it was completion again of, I trained for a thing.
Yep.
And I was consistent with the training, and I was prepared, and it felt good to go do it. And it felt good to be in it. Like that was my big concern while I was doing it, was like, enjoy this, because you got fit enough and you ran enough. It wasn't to set some blazing record here to impress anyone. Who gives a shit what my time was? That wasn't what it was about.
Not at all.
It was about the experience. It was about going to see this beautiful place and see what I'm capable of. And something like that type of a distance, right? Like, I can scale that. I could have done it an hour slower and had a much easier day. But the difference there is the hour slower is still an extra hour that I'm out in the sun. Mm-hmm. Versus if I move faster.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a sweet balance there of, not destroying the machine, but also I'm not trying to leave it. Like when I cross the finish line, I'm trying to be done.
Yeah, you're trying to be done.
Yeah.
You're not trying to like coast through the whole thing. Like,
no, I do a pretty good job of that. Even on like big bike rides. Like if we're doing a 50-mile ride, I did not prepare for 53.
Yeah, but you have to. I mean, that's how the fucking thing works. You have to pace yourself or else you're fucked. Like you can't just sprint the first 3 miles and then expect the last 15 to go okay.
Sure, but I'm also not expecting, like, I have no interest in finishing the last mile really quickly because I saved a bunch of energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
like I want to be pushing that red line, and like for me, listening to my body of like, oh, we're starting to get a calf cramp. Oh, anytime I start running, I'm slightly nauseous. We need to chill.
Yeah, I mean, shit, that's any like high school practice that you've ever thought of where you've been fucking booking it the whole time. Then the kid that's been in last the entire practice decides to fucking sprint past you on the last fucking
kick his
rep.
legs
And I'm just
out.
like, are you fucking kidding me?
Kick his legs
just
out.
like, yeah. So, yeah, just fucking leave it all out there.
So that's kind of what I was thinking about during that whole experience. Happiness.
I mean, it was a statement more than a question, but
I'm into it. For business advice, I'm into it. I think you should try to be as happy as you possibly can. I think you should also determine what it is that actually makes you happy and then figure out how to pursue and chase those things. If it's adventure, if it's money, if it's jobs, if it's whatever, figure it out. What piece of advice do you hear a lot that you think is bullshit? That hard work's the key to success. I think that's horseshit. I don't believe that's true. Because success is such an arbitrary line. We all set that bar and answer that idea of like what success is at different places. So the idea that if you just work hard, it'll be successful. Yeah, it's not fucking true. You also have to work really smart. You also have to be really consistent. It's not just work hard. And the same goes for sports. You know, that's the other side of this. You know, I think my generation and younger now, we're really sold on this idea that you can fucking be and do anything you want to do as long as you work hard at it. And that's not true.
yeah, I think a good way to kind of illustrate that would be like, I mean, with a clothing business per se, like you could fucking spend 80 hours in a warehouse every single day making t-shirts. But then if you're not, you know, promoting them or getting them out on time or doing all these other things correctly, like that doesn't necessarily going to mean success, you know?
Well,
so,
and with athletics, right?
Yeah.
Like just because you work really hard at a sport,
doesn't like
you're not going to be a world champion.
If I go in the gym for 80 hours a week, whatever, working out, trying to get better, working on diet and stuff like that, and I'm still middle tier,
You'll still not out total Steffi.
It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like I'm never going to be like, I'm never going to have a Russ Swole total, or I'm never going to like outcompete, you know, that. So,
which is why I think inspiration and stuff gets weird, right? Because I think it's easy to look at those guys and be like, must be fucking nice that you have these genetic gifts. Because they do.
Yeah, for sure.
They do. And I'm lucky enough to have some of my own.
Well, that was something that me and Andy were talking about after the run. It's just like, dude, does like the fact that you went from what you were doing to like you were able to like do the 18 miles and stuff like that, like, you know, it's pretty impressive because it's like, well, he's an athlete, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's like he's an athlete. He's able to, like, he trained for something, he put some time in, and he was able to do the thing because he's an elite athlete. He's not just like whatever. So that was something we kind of talked about a little bit. We thought was really cool. It's just like, yeah, I mean, he's a fucking athlete, so he trained for something and he's able to do it.
And that's something else I wanted to show off too, right? That like, you know, the things I figured out in becoming a world champion, how do they apply?
They carry over.
Fuck,
like,
I can still just I can still do that.
Yeah, like there's carryover. That was
I can make progress. I can't be good at a thing. Like I'm never going to be a competitive fucking ultra runner, no matter how much I train or commit to this. I'm too big.
Yep.
I just have. It would be so much work to shed the muscle mass that I have.
Yeah.
Like I haven't done a ton to keep it on.
Yeah. It's like, but you can do it. That's the thing.
For sure I could.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in the cost. Mm-hmm. And even if I committed 100%, I'm not going to be as good as someone who is naturally gifted to do
of course
that
not.
thing.
Yeah, of course not. Like that was what I was saying. It's like it's not like you're going to be winning, but like the fact that you're able to fucking do it, like you would be able to do it consistently. Like it's because fucking elite athlete.
And that's part of that too. Like I wanted to show off the training and the commitment and the consistency and show off that side of it way more than I showed up and did a thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that level of freak.
Yeah. There's a I'll say that's the other side of it.
They do exist.
Is a mindset thing. So yeah, because it's like, yeah, because I mean like Steffi switching from, you know, powerlifting to boxing, it's just like, well, she could very well be a, you know,
she very well
world class boxer.
She very well could, right?
You know,
and
like
fuck, man, it's crazy to me because we operate how we do that. We don't give any credit, not credit, but like reality of, you know, she's been boxing for 6 months.
Yeah,
do you know how fucking
long.
bad I was at lifting?
Yeah, no.
6 months in,
Yeah.
if you wanted to take a look at any of my lifts, let's just go ahead and say the middle of my freshman year in fucking high school.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
Really bad.
You know how bad a thrower I was 6 months into throwing, or even 1 year? Dude, I couldn't spin with a shot put in college.
Wow.
And I had thrown for a long time.
Wow.
I taught myself how to spin with the Highland Games in a parking lot.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's just work, and it's just repetition. And man, you can get repetition in. You can make progress. Progress was always the key. Success is an arbitrary point.
Yeah. I would, again,
that's up to you what you consider success.
Again, I think this is another one of those expectations.
Yeah, right. My success for the run?
Yeah.
Finish.
Was just finish. Because if you're expecting, as soon as I start this thing, I'm going to be a bajillionaire, or I'm going to be the best athlete in the world, or I'm just I'm going to be fucking Mike Tyson.
It's no good.
It's, no. Have a reality check a little bit.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. The advice that's bullshit is that hard work equals success, and it just doesn't. There's a lot of other factors, but hard work is just a guarantee that if you're interested in having a chance of success, you better have that one fucking dialed in. There's no way to it without hard work.
Yes.
But there's a lot of other parts.
Yes.
Moving out of the 9-to-5 world to better myself. Congratulations for fucking one, my friend. Advice on making the jump. At some point, you got to go. For me, I was able to build HVIII brand in my spare time away from my other real job to get it to a point that it was an option when I lost that job to pursue it instead of trying to find other work. That was probably the smartest thing I did. Instead of having a job that was pretty comfortable and doing its own thing and making great money, I didn't want to do it long term, and I knew it.
Yeah.
And
when Zach Smithy was in here, when he was saying when he was doing art, he's like, well, I was still doing art full time, on the side. I think that's how it has to work. It's once you're done with job one, it's start on dream job, immediately. And so until you're noticing this is enough steam, now if I just fully lean into it, we're golden, And
at some point, right? At some point there's something about removing the parachute.
Yep.
Because, that clicked really hard for me, and I haven't figured out the best way to put it into terms, right? But think about how much more effort I spent on the long hike I did out of the Berryman. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't commit that morning to I'm doing 28 miles. Because I didn't know that I could.
Yeah.
So now that I know that I could, and I can, if I go out again, I'm not packing my camping shit.
Yeah, it's different.
So how much weight am I not carrying because now I'm committed to we're doing this?
Yeah.
So I'll carry less. I'll probably run a little bit more. And think about how much faster I can move because I don't have a parachute of we can stay the night if we have to.
Yeah, this security blanket essentially that you don't need, that it's better to sometimes it's better to remove the fucking net under the trapeze or whatever instead of.
As the old movie Rad, for those of us watching BMX films, when Crew was trying to learn a backflip on the BMX bike, he kept having these mattresses underneath the landing, and he can't stick the landing because, there's shitty mattresses.
There's fucking mattresses
BMX bikes don't land on mattresses well. So how did he learn how to do it? Is he had to get rid of the mattresses.
Yeah. You just gotta
learn from Rad. So I think that's it for our business questions. Thank you guys for listening. Check out our sponsors. We have Hybrid Performance Method, Eat Right Foods, Stay Classy Meats, HVIII Brand Goods, Habit Coffee, ONNIT.com. ONNIT.com, if you want to save some cash there, it is ONNIT.com/Matt. And check out all of their supplements. Also, check out their maces and steel bells and the primal bells for the kettlebells. All those things are rad. We have a full set here at Dope, and I love using them. Man, I wanted to not like the kettlebells for so long because the athlete side in me was like, these aren't functional. But meanwhile, they're fucking cool.
Kettlebells are great.
They're super cool. Anyway, check out our sponsors. Check out the Ready State. Use code UMSO at all these places other than ONNIT and save yourself some money. Boom. Thank you guys for listening. Spread hate. Always party.